and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tony, and if you follow me on this particular build, you know it's the Baja 5B from HPI Racing. And in the last session we only got as far as section 17 in the instruction manual, and today I'm not really setting any parameters. I'm just going to go and see as far as I can get, and I'll take it up to a point where I feel that it's a natural break in filming. So I'm really sort of pumped about getting started again on this. We're going to start where we left off last time, and we'll just finish off the parts on these little hubs here. We'll get these onto the carrier frame, and then we'll just see where we end up. I really hope you're going to enjoy this. I hope you're going to follow the entire build, and I'll say thanks for joining me, and let's get started. Okay, so this is step 18. I've already gone ahead and done the left hand side. Now we're going to just do the right hand side. So as before, we'll just remove the main part we're going to need, which is part 3 of the part 3 85408. I'm getting my head around now how all this works, and actually it's quite straightforward. There is one tiny little part on that we still need, so I'll leave that on the tree for now. And the installation of this is a mirror opposite of what I've already done on this side here. So there are some long bolts, and again I'm just going to use the little template they give you in the instructions to make sure that they are the same, and they are. And this time we're going to need to put some washers on. Looks like I'm one washer short. Okay, I'll go and get a washer. Replacement washer found. It's not the same colour, but it'll do the same job. So let's just line these up. So we've got a washer passes through the bolt this side. Just put it on its side like that. Sorry. And this is the arrangement. It goes in like so. Push that through. Same again. It just pushes through into the main housing or part of that. Then on the other side, the opposing washer, and the nut. Now these are nylon nuts, so they shouldn't come undone, but it's asked for a washer, so I've put a washer on. And now I'm going to introduce you to another tool that HPI provides you in the kit. Let me just get that to spin on. There we go. So you're going to need a driver one side. Let's just spin this around, and they give you this multi-tool, and it's got pretty much every fixing you've got in the kit. There's an option on the multi-tool to use. So in this case it's that one. Quality. I mean, I'm desperately trying to just carry on as normal, but everything is a little bit more complicated when you've broken your wrist or your arm. So anyway, that's going to tighten up nicely now using that multi-tool. Just pop that on that. I think it's quite easy rather than trying to get a little spanner on it. So again, they've thought of everything, HPI. Really impressed with that. Obviously you've got to make sure when you're doing these that you install them the correct way on the main carrier frame, because these should be facing the inside of the car rather than outside the car. So the instructions are quite clear, but it's one of those sort of things that I reckon you could easily overlook and put in the wrong way, but we're not at that stage yet. So now we've just got this this sort of ball fixing to install, and there's a plastic washer that's part of the kit. It's on one of the parts trees, which again is clearly labelled. I've already found that. That slides from underneath like so, and then we have the corresponding nut that goes on the other side of that, and then we're just going to lock that using the hex key, and then I'm going to use my socket tool just to wind that in and tighten that up. And that is the left and right hand complete. So now we'll go on with the next step, which is step 19, which is now installing these on the main carrier frame. Okay, so I've gone ahead and have installed the left hand side carrier onto the main front framework. Now I'm going to do the right hand side. I've just got a cable tie here, and I'm just going to pop that over that just to stop that from flapping down. There's a little conical spacer here, I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Now that, when it gets installed, needs to be biased down so that the narrow end of the cone is on top of the ball joint. Now you then get two bolts. There's a short one and a long one. I don't know if you can see that. Stop and run around. The short one is for the top and the longer one is for the bottom. So that goes underneath, passes through underneath that. That goes through the ball joint. Hopefully you can see that. And then this conical spacer goes inside in the space between, as I said, with the narrow end of the cone towards the ball joint. Let me just turn that around so you can see that, hopefully. And now we can push that through. So that's now presented in here. And then our wonderful little multi-tool comes into use again. So we're going to pop the nut, the corresponding nut, into the multi-tool. I'm going to have to just spin this around so it's in my favour, and then position that over the bolt, and then tighten up from underneath. Really like the way they've thought about all this, HPI. So that's nice and tight. That's just come off its thing now. That was just a temporary thing that I put on just to help. That comes off that, so that's now installed on the bottom. And then the last thing we're going to do is this shorter bolt goes through the top when this goes into position here. So we'll just pass this through like that, through the carrier, and remember we put that sort of little nut stop inside this. That's now going to do its job. Just wind that all the way in. That's in, tight, and that's it. They're on. Reasonably straightforward. As I said, the only thing really excuse me, needs to be mindful of is make sure that these are pointing towards to the inside of the car, not the other way out, because this is obviously linked to the steering, which we'll go on and do now. And what else? Nothing else really. Just make sure that you get the right order of assembly, so that you've got, let's just use that, so the nut comes underneath, passes through the ball joint, passes through the conical spacer with the low or the narrow end bias towards the ball joint, and then use your HPI multi-tool just to position that nut through that, and then the rest of it is really straightforward. So that's it. So let's now go on and see what the next step is, which will be step 20. So what we'll do now is we'll go and find all those parts and get ready for the next stage. So we're into kit bag B now. So that's all the kit bag A done. Let's just open this up and pull out all the parts that we're going to need. And pop them into my little tray. Keep them all separate. So we've got a couple of rods. Got some, let's pull that out on there. Some nuts. Some fixings, bolts. A couple of big washers. Put those in there. And I'd say these must be for the sway bars. So we pop those there. Then we've got some more ball joints, spring, just one spring. Okay, some various fixings, a little bearing there, more small bearings. Well, don't know what these are yet, but we'll soon find out, I'm sure. And that is the full contents of kit bag B. Just going to find all these parts here. This one here is 85416. So that's the right part street, 85416. You can see that in the camera. And it doesn't give me a part number, but this looks like it here, so we'll go with that one. And I'll pop that back out of the way. And then we need, so that's that, and then we need 4142, which is this one here. Pop that out of the way. So that looks like our 3 parts that we're going to need. And it just asks us to start installing some of these nuts. So it looks like some of these nuts here, I guess, are the ones that need to go in there. If we then turn that, orientate that round, so there's one to go in there, one to go in there. So we'll pop those in. Use my little nut pusher, if you like. Actually, that's not. Maybe use this instead. That's it, that's got it in. They're like nylon lined pliers to stop damaging the plastic. You don't want to mar that up. That's gone in there nice and easy. Move that out of the way. Just going to use that to push that in a bit more. So that's those two. And in this one, there is 3 nuts to go in. And these are the, let's just double check, they are the 664s which are on here. So again, if you're not sure, you can just use the template that they give you. Just push that into place. It's going to need a bit more encouragement. Just use my nylon pliers just to push that back in, and that is. Same deal, that's gone in nice and easy. That just needs a little bit of encouragement. It's in. Right, so there's those 2 done. And then we've got a really small nut that goes in the back of this one. It's the only nut left, so I can only go in there. I'm just going to use something else to push that into position, and that's it. That's all 3 of those done. Let's go on and now work out what we've got to do on stage 21. So we'll do this part first, and the first thing we're going to do is to get one of these threaded ball joints and pass that through into the nut that we've previously just put in. And let's see what size we're going to need. It's the big bad boy. So we just wind that up into position. That's nice and tight. So that's that in. Now we've got to push a couple of bearings either end of this. This could be tricky. Actually no, that's gone in really easily. Other one this side. That's gone in really easily. Okay, nice and easy. So that's that piece done. Let's just pop that up there out of the way. And the next thing's sort of a joint assembly of these parts here. So that, same deal. Got another one of these threaded ball joints which goes through this end one. Just wind that in. Nice and tight. That's in. And again we've got a couple of bearings. Let's hope these go in as easy as the other ones, and what they do. It's a relief. It's gone in. Can't go any further than that. And then we've got this piece which needs to go on here. So that looks like that faces up like so. There is a washer that goes in there like that. You see that? Then we have the fixing, so let's thread the fixing with all the parts it's going to need. So it has this collar here, that one, that looks like it passes through there like that. Then we have another one of these washers which goes around that, and then we have the spring, and that goes like that, and then that just winds into this. By the looks of it. Yeah, you can feel there's a bit of a spring movement on that. And then that looks like it winds into that with that nut that we put in there before. So let's get the right size hex tool. That's the right size hex tool. Bit of pressure on that. It's saying we need 13mm between this sight and the top of that. So let's go and get my calipers wherever they are. They're under here. I've just got the calipers. I'm going to set these to 13mm. Almost there. I guess it doesn't have to be that accurate, but let's just try and do it. That'll do. Let's just measure the... So I've got a long way to go on that. So we'll measure, we'll keep measuring that. Wind that down. Bit more to go. It's 13mm from the this edge here to the top of this fixing. Still some way to go. A bit more. Still a bit more. Couple more turns. And that is it. Perfect. So that's that. Yeah, so that's that. So we'll see. That's just popped out of there, so we just need to pop that back in. So let's have a look at the next stage. That's stage 21 complete. Okay, so we've got these parts from the tree, and you have these two rods that just slide into position there. Just push fit. There's no mention of gluing or anything on this. Just use the bench to push that down. So that's that. As far as I can tell, then these slide through the bearing like so. Then we have this connector here. It's two fixings. These slide in here like that. Don't think there's an up and a down or a right way and a wrong way, not sure. Just going to pass these fixings through that sleeve, if you like, and I'll tell you what, let's do one at a time. That then goes into that. The right one. There we go. Don't do that up too tight. Let's pop that sleeve back over that, and then that goes onto that. And we'll just tighten all that up. Tighten this one up. And that's it. That does its thing there. This spring is now, it bends, it's actually, because of the conical design of this on the inside, this is designed to move left and right. So that's, as far as I can tell, that's that part complete, section 21. There is an update sheet that it comes with the kit, which is for the steering rod linkage bars, which I'm not sure. I think it's just about telling you to use either masking tape. Right, so you've got these. This is why this is very lightweight aluminium here, and if you're going to grab this with a tool, you don't want to damage it, so they're talking about just using masking tape to protect that, and using your pliers to snap them into place. So that's all that update is for, I believe, but I will just push that to one side. Anyway, let's go and get the parts I need for this, and I'll be straight back. Right, so I think I found the right ones, the rod ends, but what they do is they give you, again, a printed template to make sure you can marry up and find the right ones, and these are the right ones. Although they don't put a number against these, this is definitely the right part. It's this metallic grey finished part, so we'll just snip off. Gonna need 4 of these. Make sure that's the same one, and it is. Pop that over there on the same coded parts tree. And I will double check once I've got these cut to make sure that they are, yes, Yes. Yeah. Yes. And yes. Just want to tidy that edge up there. So there we need, that's what we need for that. Now it gives you a dimension of 59 millimeters, the distance in the between the rod ends, and these are going to be threaded onto this. Now just trying to see if there's a thread in there. Hard to tell. Don't know if it cuts itself or not, but I think, oh, look at that, look at that, that actually goes in there. So that's, I think, how that goes. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my vise because I can't put any pressure with my hand. I'm going to clamp this into my vise and then see if I can get it put in that way. So I'll be back in a moment.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I've got these on. One point of note, this is threaded the opposite direction, so while you go, you know, typically it's righty-tighty, loosey-lefty, right? It's the opposite for this end here, so just bear in mind that when you're doing this. I've set my calipers to 59 millimeters. That's what they requested. You can see that 59 millimeters. That's what they've requested here. So I just need to make sure that that is 59, and I've got some way to go. So I'm fairly confident I can use this away from the vise and then just wind in. Just wind that in. Actually, that's winding it out. It goes against what you're used to. Sorry, I'm doing this out of the camera. Just going to wind that in until I get to the 59. Still got a way to go. I'm guessing it needs to be exact because that's what it tells us in the instructions. What I do now is spin that round, pop that end in, and we'll tighten it the opposite direction. Let's see what that's like. Getting there. About 3 mil to go. Hopefully we're there or thereabouts now. No, still not. Anyway, I'll carry on with this. I'll get these done. I'll get this set and I'll do the other one away from camera, and then I'll be back to install them on the main frame. Right, so that's both tie rods, identical in size. I've just popped one on to see how easy it was to go on, and it was quite easy really. So now we need to get the other one on, and of course this one where I'm filming it is going to be awkward. Just know it. Let's just open that up a little bit. There we go. I'll get square on that really. There we go, that's on. So they're on. Now we need to install this on the main frame. Pop these out of the way, I'm going to need those. Right, sorry, I had a bit of a technical problem with my camera. I forgot to turn it on. So really sorry about that. I went ahead and I put on these these rods, and I put this into the housing. Now this is just in here on a couple of pins, like these two pins that went through the bearings. I don't know if you can see that, and they just push fit into the two holes here. And I can only think that once the chassis has been installed, these lugs will lock into the chassis. So that all feels right and it looks right according to the instructions. Everything seems to be, let's see if I can get that to, that seems to be doing its thing. Yeah, I think that's right. It feels right, it looks right, I think. Steering seems to be doing its thing correctly, so I think that's right, and I'm really sorry about that. I just put it down to me being stupid. Anyway, we're going to have a look now at that. So that is actually up to stage 24. Then it goes on to stage 25, which starts talking about the servo, which I don't have just yet. So I'm going to skip the servo part and see what the next part would be. I think it's going to be putting this onto the chassis. Right, as I thought, so going to skip the servo, going to go straight on to installing the chassis. So you're going to need kit bag C for this. Now, most of the fixings and parts in here, a lot of them are to do with the servo installation, but some of the parts you're going to need for these next few key stages are in this kit bag C. So let's get this bag open and see what we've got, and then separate them out. Oh, it's already open, right. So let's just scoot that out there. Right, so we've got parts in here definitely to do with the servo here. So what we'll do is we'll take these out of the bags, pop them into my little tray. That's a beautiful arm, that lovely big servo arm, that cast aluminium. Put that there, put those in there. We've got some fixings, so just probably just put those straight into the tray. We've got in here, so got some E-clips. Let's pull these big bolts out. So they're easier to find. Some grub screws. Again, I'm sure in the fullness of time, the instructions will make it clear what we're going to be using these for. Another bag for the fixings and sort of looks like retaining pins. So I'll pop that. I might just leave that bag. No, I won't. I'll do that. I'll take it all out. Be easier to go through it. So let's just pop all those in there. Sort out some of the bigger fixings, nuts. And we'll just, that'll be it. A couple of sway bars there, which we'll come onto, and then all these parts are to do with the servo box and the receiver box. So I'll pop those to one side for now. Now I've got all these parts out, it's just a matter of just having a look. Thank you. My wife just dropped me a coffee. I'll have a look and see how all this goes together, and I'll come straight back to camera. Okay, so there's only one part required off the main plastic parts tree, and it is this piece here. So let's just snip that, and then we can pop that out of the way, and that goes into the bottom of the chassis, somewhere like that. So now I can put that in a moment. So now's the time we're going to put this in I'm going to mount this massive big front rack, and what I'm looking to do is these two little lugs, I guess, hopefully fit into place into the chassis. Look at that, it does, perfect. That aligns perfectly. Now there's a couple of bolts that go in here. Let's get these in so they don't slip out. And these are, let's just double check. Again, I actually really like this. I like the idea that these, you can double check that you've got the right fittings. Just winding these in by hand for now. I must admit, the more I'm getting into this kit, it's like any kit, you know, even the Armatech kits, when you unbox them, you see all these thousands of fixings and parts and everything else. It is daunting. It's only when you start then getting into the build, you get into the swing of it, and it's actually really enjoyable. So the more I'm getting involved in this kit, at the right size, have I gone? That's the right size. Double checking. I don't know why that's not, doesn't seem to want to fit as well as the others. We'll see. Yeah, anyway, we'll get started. I'm going to wind these in, not all the way, just some of the way. Again, there's no mention of thread lock on these at this stage. Interesting. Going to move that to make sure that is aligned on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. They're there. And for some reason these are struggling to go in. So I'm just slacking these off a little bit. That's one surefire way of ending a weekend badly. Don't know what it is. When the weather gets hot in this country, all the bikers come out. Now, I'm an ex-biker, so I'm not going to criticise anybody that rides a motorbike, but good God, you know, just be careful. For some reason that is... doesn't... oh, that's better. That's gone in there better. Just needed a bit of alignment. So if that's the case, just slacken the other ones off so it gives you more to work with on this side. So that's almost done. Just this one to be tightened up now. I'm not sure how many more fixings I've got to go in this, but that's that. It's in there nice and tight. So that's that. I just might be worth me just giving that a crank. No, it's not going anywhere. So these are machine screws. Hopefully they've grabbed. I don't need to worry about thread locker or anything like that. So that's that. You can really start getting a sense for the size of this now. Now let's put this little fixing in here. I've no idea what this is. I'm sure if you built one of these, you're probably screaming at the camera going, or the YouTube channel and screaming at it going, I know what it is. But anyway, it is what it is. I have no idea what it is. But there's a little tapped hole. That hole there is already tapped. So that pops in there. And let's get the right hex tool. That's already pre-tapped, so you'll find the hole in a minute. That's by the way, that's actually slotted, so that's got to have some functionality. That slot has got to have some functionality. But anyway, let's start again because I went about that all wrong. Again, no mention of thread locker at any point in these. Typically, I'm inclined to want to put thread locker on it, but I won't for now. And again, I don't know what function this has. I don't know whether it's some kind of stop or what have you, but I'm not going to put it in too tight. I'm just going to put it in. It does suggest that it's biased towards the front. I'm going to push that to the front. Just tighten that up. And that is that. And you remember when we talked about, when we looked at this early doors, and I said about this notch. There you go, you can see the plate. It's obviously not fixed in position yet because I think there's a bumper stop that's got to go on here next. That's going to hold all that in place. But that's what the notch is for, this front plate here. So now it does tell us to turn this around and fix the bumper. Just got to go and find it. So I'll go and find that and I'll be straight back. Okay, bumper found. It's on the parts tree 85420. Let's just trim this off. Pop that away. Trim off the parts we don't want. And that's it, that's the bumper. And I believe that that goes on here. And there's a little hook, I don't know if you can see that. Little hook like that. That obviously is designed to go in and hook itself into position. And then there's some bolts there. Now we need to put some nuts on here, don't we? Not seen where the nuts go. So let's have a look. Make sure that we've got nuts in place, and we've got nuts in there, but no nuts in here. Interesting. That's, I think that might be for the frame. That might be for the part of the old sort of external frame. So anyway, let's get these on. Oh, hang on, there's two fixings to go in here first. Sorry, stupid me. So they are, again, people shouting at the camera, don't forget what you're doing. Right, there's two of them, and they go in here before this goes in. It would help if we get the right tool, wouldn't it? I'm actually at the stage where I'm really enjoying this now. I'm really enjoying it. Just sort of kind of in my mind imagining how it's going to start coming to shape, and all of a sudden it does start taking shape. I mean, again, you can just get a sense of this. I mean, it's a 1 to 5 scale, so it's a monster. So now we've got those in, we can now hook this in position. And now, again, there's no mention of fixing this in place just yet, but I suggest it must do. I think some head scratching going on. Oh, I see. All right, okay. They're not fixed just yet. There's some more work to be done ahead of fixing this in. So I'm going to just move the instructions out of the way, push this over here, just out of that way for now, bring these back and start looking at the next part. Right, so we're going to make the sway bar linkage now and then go on to install them onto here. So we're going to need the 85416 parts tree, which this is, and we're going to need number 3, and we're going to need 4 of those. And it happens to be 3 on here, odd, but so let's get that as right, isn't it? Yeah, 3. Got to make up 2 identical sets of these. So I'm going to leave that one on there because there's another parts tree here, and I'm going to take 2 off of that. So again, 85416, and we want parts number 3. Take them from here, and these again are the sort of kind of grey, almost metallic finish plastic parts. So move those out of the way. So that's those 4. 2 grub screws, which we've got, and then we've got the 2 little ball joints again. So it asks us to, let's see how difficult this is going to be. There's actually a little, there is a little slot in that to allow me to get a so this has got to be sort of half and half. So again, it's going to be a little bit tricky, like the main steering linkage bars, but once you get going, so just need to find the right tool, and I will use that to drive this into, is that the right one? Let's have a look. Yep. So we're just there we go, that'll do. Just pop that in there like that. Allows me to hold that while I wind that in. It's about halfway. Now comes a tricky bit. Doing the other one. Now this could be the same, opposite direction. Let's have a look. Righty tighty, is it? Yeah, okay. That's odd. It's gone in at a bit of an angle. But it should straighten itself out as we wind that on. Just unwind that. Not happy with the angle it's going in on. That's better. Now ask these to be turned slightly. It says turn slightly. It doesn't give you any degrees or anything like that, so I'll just wind that one in a bit. So let me have a look. On the instructions, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, yeah, just a little one. I'm looking at the diagram it gives us. Oops. I need to turn that the other direction. Then you do that and you don't get a tight wind, so let's have a look. Now let's have a look. Like an optical illusion. I think that's about right. Yeah, I think that's about right. I've got to do the same with this one. So I'll do this and then I'll come back straight to camera. Alright, so I've managed to do these. Actually what I did with these ones, I put them in my vise. It was a lot easier. I've got vise like rubber guards in my vise and they worked perfectly. So if you're struggling with that, you're not going to get, well, I doubt if you're going to do these easily with a set of pliers. So if you've got a vise, that's the way you should do it. So they're now done. Now it's just a matter of getting these installed onto this frame, which we'll go and do now. Alright, so this is the first mention of thread locker on this kit. So you've got a couple of fixings that come in behind this frame here. I'm just going to put a little bit of thread locker on that, because that's what it's asking us to do. This is a bit awkward because of the way the frame is. Difficult to get your hands in there. There we go. That's through there. I'm going to put a little bit more thread locker on that. And these little ball joints just thread onto that. fixing in there just to allow me to, and that's got, I think this tool comes into action again. Look at that, it does. Brilliant. So this tool works on all parts of this build. Really smart. That's that. Put the other one in. I'll do the thread locker in a moment. Let's get it in first. There you go. I'm using the blue thread locker on this. I typically use the red thread locker on my tanks, but I'm going to use blue on this, just so the red is quite extreme, and you need to put some heat on it to get to soften it, to take the parts out. But that's fine when you're putting heat on metal, but not a lot of this is all plastic, so I'm going to go for I'm opting for the blue on this one in case I never need to get anything out. We can it'll be less of a problem. So let's use this tool again. I like this little tool. This could come in handy. And because the ball joint itself has got a nut profile on it, it allows you to get this tool in. And it's threaded all the way through. I'm not going to over tighten this. I'm just going to be, you can always, with plastic, you can always over tighten things and then crack or snap, which we don't want to do. So that's them in. Now I guess these need to go, well, sorry, these need to be popped on here. Let me just double check that. And yes, they do. So they need to go in here, so we'll need to get the pliers on that. What if I don't with my pliers? Oh, they're there. So I'm always a bit nervous. Which way round? Let's have a look, mate. Let's make sure we're getting the right way round. Okay, so left and right. Model is, if I turn the model, orientate the model back up this way. So the left one goes on here. This is the left one. So the left one goes on here. And what orientation does it go? It goes with the ball, with this facing out by the looks of it. Yeah. So that, I'm just going left, this facing out. So let's see if I can get it's going to be awkward. A reasonable grip on that. There we go, that's in. So that's on. Now do the other one. And the right, no, it seems like, but I'm double checking everything, and it goes on that way with that pointing out again. Let's get some grip on that. Can't get the angle right. Awkward. There we go. So that's them on. So now I think it's time to get the sway bars out. That must be the next step. Right, so that completes 37, although we haven't done the 37 steps because we've missed some parts, obviously, because we haven't done the servo installation yet, but I will do that as soon as that arrives. So let's just push this to one side, and that's fallen off, I'm not worried about that. just yet, because that will go in the fullness of time, and I think it probably goes in at this stage here, which is stage 38. So I'm just going to open up these sway bars and then we'll get those installed. Okay, so my first mistake, I'd put these linkages here on the front, here and here, and then it was only when I started looking at the instructions again I realised that I made a mistake. There should be now. I've actually put them in the right position here, so no harm done. I only used blue thread locker, so relieved that they and we literally just done it a few minutes ago. So anyway, they are now in the right location on the left and the right as they're supposed to be. So with the sway bars, there's two types. There's slightly thicker girth one and slightly broader, and then a narrow gauge and slightly narrower. It doesn't really, you can tell, I guess, from looking at the instructions that this one is the right one for the front. So this one's the back one. We'll pop that away, out of the way. So that's the right one. Then we've got these fittings here, which are, I don't know if you can see in the camera, they've got like a nut profile, and they slip into position there. And I don't think there's a left and a right. I think they're both identical. They just slide into that position there. And then what we're going to do is turn this over like so. Now we're going to put the bumper back in, and we can now see that these holes here are countersunk and we get the right fittings. I'm just checking on here, and they are. And that's, let's have a look. Is that going? It's all a bit. Yeah, it seems to be all right. Just needs a bit of a. There's a lot of things to align. Let's just take that off. Have a look. What I might have to do is just slacken that off a bit. Just to give me a little bit of movement on that. That's a bit better. Might just have to give that a little bit of a nudge. Now, there we go. That's better. That's come through. Obviously lost that. We've fallen out the other side. That's hopefully aligned that hole. There we go. Yeah, they just both popped out. Ah. Let's just realise what I've just done there. That's fine. Need to get those back out. Because I slackened those off, didn't I? Anyway, it's all fun and games. I think once I've got this on, I'm going to call it a day. Quit while I'm ahead. Oh, never mind. Right. Pop that down there out of the way. Just checking something. If I've got a fitting that could actually, yeah, let's speed this process up. Right, take that back off, tighten these back up. Good, another good warts and all video. Just goes to show these are the things that can happen. I'm just glad I remembered that I hadn't tightened these up. That would have been awkward, wouldn't it? Now, let's just pretend that never happened and we'll start again. So, these things are sent to try us, as eight. Obviously they're not tightening up because there's nothing to give them any resistance, but they're in. Now, just need to put those plugs back in that came out. Let's just hope they go in. With the threaded, yeah, they're right, they're in. That's good. Just turn that so you can see that. So they go in like that. Then we take our sway bar. I'm going to pop that on there like that. And now I just need to make sure that I can get the opposite side on. Could be tricky because I'm going to turn this up the other way. Just get one of these on to start with. Okay, that's got it. Just needs to turn back into position so we can lock that down. Again, this is just awkward. I'm making it awkward because of my current predicament. This isn't as awkward as I'm making it to look out, I promise you. Or it might be. Maybe I should give myself a bit more credit, who knows. I'm just putting it there so that I can keep this from dropping out all the time. So that's that. I'm going to keep that relatively loose. Now, there's a couple of grub screws that go in here, but I won't put those in just yet because I understand that just needs to have a little bit of movement. So let's do these first. So let's hope I can get these to go. There we go. That's gone in there, and that's going to be secured with a little grub screw, which I'm going to load up. I'm going to put some thread locker on this. It hasn't asked for it, but I just think that something like this will need a bit of thread locker. So I'm going to use the blue thread locker again. Just hold that. I'm going as tight as I can on that. That's it, nice and tight. I might just give that. Does that fit in there? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. That's tight. Do the same this side. I'll turn that for you. Push that all the way in. Got my other little grub screw. Thread locker. Just pushing that so that the rod doesn't slip. Going right in and tight as tight can be on that. That's it. That's great. That's just popped out. Lovely. So let's just unwind that. Get that pop. Oh, that's. Needs a bit more. Sorry. That's it. It's in now. So that's that, and then we asked to put another couple of grub screws in here, but I'm pretty sure these need to be left. So it says adjust screw little by little until sway bar moves freely without excessive play. So that's what we're going to do. Right, so I think I'm not going to bother with a thread locker on it, so I'm just going to pop that on there. I'll wind it down in a little bit. So what's it mean by free movement and not excessive play? Not sure. So we carry on just I think this is just clamping the two parts on the front together. It says carry on. It's got free movement. I don't know what excessive play means. Again, I'm not an expert in building one of these. This is the first time for me, so please forgive me. That's what I try and do. I just try and show from a novice point of view how to build something like this and the mistakes you can make while building. So I'm just reading that. It says adjust screw little by little until sway bar moves freely without excessive play. I've no idea what that even supposed to mean, other than it's doing that. So right, so I think I'm happy with that. So that's that. I think that's as far as I'm going to go today, because I don't want to make any more mistakes, and that's quite a lot of build. I think we've gone quite far with this particular part of the build. Not only that, I'm going to wait for my servo to arrive, and then we can go and attack this part here ahead of putting the gas tank on. So I'll just have a bit of a tidy up and I'll come straight back to camera. Well, that's it for today's session. I'm really pleased how it's gone. I mean, it's incredible. This is up to, with the sort of first build session and the second build session today, it's up already to about 9 hours of build working according to my build log. And I'm really pleased how this has all come together. All right, I made one mistake, and that was, you know, explain that with the sway bar sort of retainers here. You know, it's something that happens, and hopefully I've learnt from that mistake, and I didn't go too far before it was obvious I'd made a mistake. So everything's working as it should, the steering's working as it should, and we've got up to section 38. Now obviously we've missed out the whole servo section, and I will do that in my next build session, because hopefully the servo would have arrived by then. And I've spoken to Wheel Spin Models, and they've got everything arranged for me. The engine, the radio gear, the servos, they've got everything in stock, and brilliantly it's on the way to me now. So as soon as I've got that, I'll start getting that unboxed, and we'll get it onto the kit. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's session. I hope the Baja is something that you're enjoying. I mean, I know it's different to what I normally build. I'm not going away from Armatech. I love Armatech models. As I explained before, it's only until my arm is better and I get cracking on the Series 1. The Series 1 I've moved out of the way, just out of camera shot, just to give me some more room, because this thing's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we'll soon see in the next few sessions why it gets so big. Anyway, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you who continue to support my channel. Massive thanks to all of your thumbs up, all your amazing comments, and if you are new to my channel, please subscribe, because we have got a long way to go on this, and I'm still finding my feet and learning my way through these models. So please forgive me if I've stumbled a little bit, but I'm going to put it down to this. So a few sympathy votes for this, sorry. And anyway, I will sign off now by saying I am Tony. I love building these huge RC kits, and I look forward to our next session. See you soon.